getting that team. So Stunt is now playing against his former team. He played with Golden Glue. He played at support alongside Piglet last split.
It's always kind of fun to see how those matchups play out when you have the former teammates going head-to-head, squaring off like that. Anyway, we're into the picks and bans for game number 1. And Zed and Malzahar are going to be banned away by Liquid, really acknowledging what Keen was able to do on that champion against FlyQuest. As Varus is taken off the table by Dignitas, the lethality changes have really catapulted that champion so far into the meta. He's just got to be taken out.
Yeah, everybody's just like, how can I build lethality? What characters can build it? Can I build it on Cassiopeia? No.
Can I put it on my support?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's trying to get it, and that's where Misfortune comes in too, right? So people are just trying to find lethality where they can. Jace as well, very high priority pick. Camille's still on the table. Rengar's still on the table. Kha'Zix's still up there as well. So let's see. Yep.
Also still there.
LeBlanc.
The big three, none of them have been banned so far. And we've only got one ban left to go. It's going to be Shen. So all 3 of the unholy trinity that has ruled the first 4 weeks of LCS play are available to be picked now.
Now the question is, which one do they take on Team Liquid's side? Rengar has been a favorite for Reignover. Lorlo, they like him a little bit more on tanks, and it is going to be the LeBlanc here for Golden Glue.
LeBlanc picked up for Golden Glue, and one thing I kind of want to track as we go through this draft is we mentioned how Liquid is very comfortable on a few champs and has a less than overwhelming record on the remainder of the champions they play. LeBlanc is not one of those champs for Golden Glue.
Yep.
Golden Glue normally finds success on Corki and Echo. So we'll have to see how this works out for him, locking in that different pick as Dignitas responds with the Jhin and the Graves.
Yeah, the Jhin because the Varus is banned away, but the Graves, I've been talking to a few LCS junglers, asking them before the week started. It was like, Graves in solo queue feels like the best jungler right now, even over Rengar. And some people agree, some people think that Rengar is slightly above Graves right now, but it's no doubt that those are the top 2.
Graves so incredibly strong with just that instantaneous burst if you know how to do the animation cancels. I was actually having someone show me those the other day.
Practice mode.
The amount of damage that comes out in the blink of an eye is so incredible on the champion. Reignover going to be picking up that Rengar that you mentioned already. Also going to go ahead and throw it out there. That is not his champion that Liquid normally has him play. Normally his success is found on Kha'Zix. But considering Rengar has been, for the past 4 weeks, kind of just considered the only champion better than Ka in the jungle and has been permaban most of the time, we'll have to see if Reignover can make that work as they also pick up the Maokai in the top lane. Now that is one of those champions that Liquid has found a lot of success with.
Currently 2-1 on it for Lorlo. Maokai has been something that they actually love running because it's that beefy front line. It helps them actually engage, and Lorlo gets a little bit of a way to lock down the enemy team. Reignover, Rengar has been a classic of his, but he's usually going tank build. It's not the lethality, it's not the high damage here, but they haven't matched AD carries is the thing that's concerning here for Team Liquid, because they haven't picked up the Ashe. That could probably be banned away from Team Dignitas in the second round of bans. I think they'll pinch that, and then they'll also end up picking a support rather early on. But it's Piglet. He likes playing Twitch. He likes playing off meta.
Right.
If you ban Piglet, you only make him stronger.
Yeah, you're letting the man play the kind of carry style that he wants to play. Utility AD carries is not Piglet's game, so ban him away. Yeah. Ban him away freely.
Then he gets to turn to the coach and be like, shucks, they banned me out, coach.
They banned all the utility AD carries. Guess I gotta play one that does a bunch of damage now.
Interlock Twitch.
Rats. All right, Corki's picked up on the side of Dignitas. That's going to be their mid laner. Very powerful in mid lane, very potent. We've seen a lot of it these past few weeks. Not surprised to be seeing it again here. Tom Kench, the first ban from Dignitas in Phase 2.
Interesting. If Team Dignitas think they don't have to actually pinch 80 carries, they'll pinch support, first pick their support. And Team Liquid might start banning top laners here, because I think if they ban supports, they're actually just hurting themselves too, and leave less of that pool open.
And there you go. Rumble going to be banned #1 from them, trying to keep Someday off that carry potential that we've seen Dignitas depend on him before. Like you mentioned going into this game, though, Dignitas' victories haven't looked like Someday's backpack being stuffed full of 4 other players. Dignitas has been working as a coherent unit, so maybe Someday doesn't have to be that big carry in the top lane. Maybe he's going to be comfortable being that enabler, that tank that sets up everybody else for success.
Yep. And everybody's communicating a little bit more on Dignitas. Stunt was a big facilitator of communication and talks a lot. It's one of the reasons when they brought him on the roster and had him play that everybody was reporting, hey, this actually feels a little bit better. We're playing. We won the match. But yesterday didn't seem to actually take a step back with Stunt out of the lineup and Xpecial in. But now with him back on, we'll see what Dignitas look like today.
Dignitas going to go ahead, continue to target ban that support.
Oh.
Karma taken off the table, and it's up to Liquid to make one more choice for bans.
They
missed it.
They missed it. And they missed the ban. This happens a lot of the times with mixed language teams or teams that are deliberating too much. And I will say, this may actually be the first game I've ever seen where Camille has not been picked or banned.
Yes, she hasn't, has she?
I believe she has made up 100% presence across all regions. This is the first game that she has not been picked or banned so far. Could be a last pick.
Right. Dignitas still has to pick up their top laner. They lock in Thresh in the support role. Liquid now going to have to find their AD carry and their own support. Looks like Caitlyn is going to be the hover for Piglet for the time being. Going to utilize some of that range to try to find himself an advantage. Also, a very auto-attack heavy champion, so fits more of Piglet's style than those utility-based champs. And Matt is going to go ahead and grab that Zyra for himself.
Yep, Zyra or Malzahar was what you were expecting. Stunt with the Rammus hover, and you can see Golden Glue's face because what happened was the 5th game against against C9C for the Challenger Series Finals was TLA versus C9C, and what ended up happening was Piglet accidentally locked in Rammus, and they had to play with it, and Stunt had to play Rammus support. So the call out there to his old teammates, Golden Glue's like, I see you. But yeah, the final pick, it is Camille. Got through, but last pick.
Last pick, always a surprise. And you guys out there in the audience didn't actually get to see the pre-game lobby chat for this game, but Piglet told Dignitas, pick Rammus, and Stunt proceeded to type OK about 25 times. So he was very ready and prepared for what he knew he had to do here in this champion selection phase. But Camille picked up for Dignitas someday on that. We talked about his carry potential. If you're going to carry from the top lane, I can't think of a better champion to do it on.
Yeah, and I can't think of a better matchup as well right now because Camille struggles against things like Darius, Tryndamere, a lot of solo queue stuff. But against a Maokai, even if he roots you, your E will still go off. You can still get yourself to a wall. It's not the Poppy W that type thing where it will stop your move block or stop your dash.
Coach is going to be shaking hands, ready to enter into Summoner's Rift for the first time today. And you were talking about it, these teams currently 8th and 9th in the league. Not exactly in a spot that they want to be in, as after this week, Irene, remember, we're halfway through the regular split. It's not like we're just at the very beginning anymore, and you can say, oh yeah, they got plenty of time. Everything's going to be great. They can shape up later. It'll be awesome. You got to start getting yourself in gear if you want to have a shot at better positioning on that ladder by the time everything ends and we're looking at playoffs.
Yeah, especially get yourself in those 6th place spots at least so you can keep going and actually have a postseason. But these teams, of course, fighting for those spots right below to try and get back up into those playoff standings.
And here we go on to Summoner's Rift for the first time today. Team Liquid versus Dignitas. A best of 3 to see who's going to start clawing their way up from the bottom, working their way towards the middle, and setting their eyes on that playoff prize. A lot of pings coming out into the river here from Liquid early on. Nobody's clumped up or anything right now, though. Looks like we might see a little bit of cheekiness maybe from Rainover and Golden Glue, but now they just fan out. Everybody's going to be taking that 5-point spread and just defending the entrances to their own side of the map here.
Yeah, but someday on the bottom side of the map, that's not usually where you'll see your top laner actually defend early game. A little bit odd, but it looks like he's just doing the Camille thing where if somebody shows themselves, you rank up E, you'll get a flash out. It's a very large gap closer.
Ridiculous gap closer. Backing himself out, though. Not going to be seeing that opportunity anytime soon. Decides to head back up towards top lane. No cheese to be found at level 1 here. Ward's both going to be thrown down at the ramp, entering into the Dignitas red side jungle.
We'll see where Chaser starts. He might go for the Raptor start as Graves. You can throw a Q across.
We've been seeing a lot of that from a lot of junglers, the Raptor starts.
Yeah, because the small ones give you level 2 by themselves. So you actually get level 2 to clear the big one, or you can smite the big one and clear it out very quickly and not take all of that DPS. And that's what it looks like it'll be here. If they clear it fast enough, somebody can actually give a little bit of a leash on the red and then head back up. And there it is, the Q across, the W start from Someday. Someday actually took one.
That's tragic. All right, so Chaser's going to be a little bit worse for wear than what he intended because Someday took that baby chicken, so now he's got to fight the bigger one, only level 1 still, but it won't be too much of a problem. Graves still pretty adept at clearing out the jungle relatively safely, utilizing the power of that shotgun to kite himself around and take these with a lot of ease, honestly.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if that little Raptor actually does affect top lane at all. Not completely familiar with what happens when somebody steals a chicken when they hit level 2. If it's actually a different spike, it could throw off the top laner if it is that situation.
It might catch Lorlo by surprise. Maybe she's thinking, oh, he's got to hit one more minion to hit level 2, and then he doesn't. Could make a difference. Likely not going to be too huge, though. Someday already grabbing that level 2, but not really finding any opportunity to jump onto Lorlo with it. Keen versus Golden Glue in the mid lane. Golden Glue going to be soaking a lot of that early Corki damage.
Oh, he actually did hit level 2 one creep earlier. That's interesting.
One creep equals one chicken.
Yeah, one chicken actually did it. So I went back to watch it just so everybody at home knows. Steal a chicken from, from your jungler. If
Don't encourage this. All right.
Lorlo played it safe, though. Lorlo backed up because what he did is he saw that Someday had 1 CS when he walked to lane.
Chaser's going to go ahead, grab his blue buff, puts him on the bottom part of the map. Reignover, though, also down here, already grabbed the bottom part Scuttle Crab for his team, which, considering Piglet and Matt are shoved up so far, provides some extra protection for them, makes it a little bit harder for Chaser to work his way in there and try to punish them.
And Reignover does that a lot. He'll go for the vision control early, even before the buffs. And this is where Reignover thinks he's not going to get invaded by Chaser. Chaser's not going to end up going for the red, so he'll actually take the red later, so he has it for longer in the game.
There you go, moving towards it right now to grab that one. Chaser up 1 level right now, but just having barely ticked that level 4. The explanation for that can be seen in the fact that Reignover's still grabbing that buff. Oh. Chaser moves to the top part of the map in the Scuttle Crab stunt, taken very, very low, though. Piglet doing a lot of damage with that range as Laud eats those grasping vines. Keystone Mastery's on the bottom part of your screen there. The Warlord's Bloodlust for Piglet going to be keeping him nice and healthy, while Jin's Deathfire Touch, of course, going to be adding that extra
Camille's in the bush.
gank into the top lane. Lorlo in a little bit of trouble here. Someday looking to find the stun onto him, forces the flash.
And the TP from Golden Glue
Yeah,
as
Golden
well.
Glue channeling the TP in case they decided to go all the way deep for that. Prevents them from going for any sort of a dive. But Lorlo blowing his flash for that one. Golden Glue blowing the TP. 2 summoner spells for free. Dig's happy with that.
Yeah, but the big action, I think, this entire game is mostly this bottom lane. This is Piglet and Matt just crushing the bottom side. Reignover got the Scuttle Crab, gave them a sense of security. Chaser just went top. They know the enemy jungle is not on bottom side, so TL constantly shove in. Matt and Piglet are in a very vulnerable position being that far forward, but Chaser chooses to play towards Someday and not towards Laud and Stun. So this turret is so close to dying.
Yeah, Laud and Stun are just permanently stuck underneath this. And look at the amount of damage they're going to be soaking constantly from these Caitlyn auto attacks, from the Zyra plants. The farm comparison, 34 to 17. They're getting 5 minutes in.
They're getting destroyed. This is double the CS. They're underneath the turret. Laud
Gonna die. Very low first blood for Matt, even through the summoner spells. Laud blows them both and still gets a one-way ticket to a black and white screen. First turret gonna be going down too. Liquid is very happy with how this bottom lane went.
5-minute first turret here. Solo gold for Piglet. Guys on a carry. Long sword first. Look at that.
The
little
dream.
head shake. Little head shake from Piglet. Like, I got this. He's feeling himself. He's feeling good today.
How can you not? After that kind of an opening, here we go. Here's the damage coming out onto Laud again.
Yep. Rooted. Q. Exhausted. Thunderlords comes through from Matt as well.
That last thorny auto attack ends up taking him down. Good stuff from Piglet and Matt, setting Piglet on the fast track to success.
With the cull, too.
Got that cull up and running. Of course, the one thing that we've got to keep in mind is that even though Laud is very far behind right now, his power spike is going to come much, much faster because Jin builds lethality and Caitlyn doesn't.
Yeah, depends, though. He's already 1,000 gold down in this matchup. So if somebody's got 1,000 gold closer to their next item, and then he has a cull and he gets about 1,400, even if the game stays the same, he's got a BF sword over you, and I would think that would equate that power spike.
Right. It's a rough situation
I know,
to be
it's a lot of gold.
It's a lot of gold. You pretty much need that much gold to go even with lethality users if you're not going to be using lethality, but hey, Piglet says if that's what I got to do, that's what I'm going to be doing. As he and Matt, now with that extra control over bottom lane, means that Laud and Stun have pretty much just packed up and left. Not really anything to do without that turret to stay nearby, and Piglet's going to happily farm by himself, still with a CS advantage. Everywhere else on the map, relatively even in terms of the farm. Hex Drinker just now picked up for Keen, respecting the amount of burst that could be coming down from Golden Glue's LeBlanc.
Yeah, Keen is pretty much the only person doing well, except for Someday in the top lane. He's actually even. He was a little bit ahead. But backs up, goes for another Doran. So double Dorans into the phase, into the Trinity Force is what the build will be from Camille. But no early Tiamat, so he's looking for some durability, some 1v1 power instead of pushing power.
That first turret going down so early creates such a massive gold discrepancy between the teams. 2,500 already, and with first turret gone, that prioritization of objectives disappears, and you're going to see much earlier dragon attempts like we're showcasing right now. Liquid going for this first Mountain Drake just 7 minutes into the game.
And this is just such a good draft for Liquid's style. Lorlo on a tank. We talked about comfort for them. Rainover's on one of his old school signature picks. But then this bottom lane. One of the most punishing, if not the most punishing bottom lane in terms of pushing and range. You can't really match this with another AD carry against Caitlyn. And support, Zyra seems to be the shove master, the one that pokes you under turret. So they played to their win condition in bot side. Chaser didn't end up focusing it, even though sometimes it was unwarded. So TL kind of getting away with murder with this pick in the bottom lane.
And Laud, just the guy who's the body on the ground, having to play all this catch-up game, doing everything he can to bounce these grenades around and find as much money as possible, but it's going to be a long, rough road to catch himself back up from this point. Still a 2K gold lead for Liquid. Not really anything going on in terms of playmaking, in terms of setups right now. They're content still just kind of farming it out. You can see the rotations, though, coming up from Piglet and Matt, going towards that top side. You got Caitlyn set up for other turrets.
Yep. And Lorlo, what he did is he actually backed off of the wave, allowed Someday to push it a little bit, and now it's got extra minions in this wave. So it's actually a pushing wave with a few more casters in it. So this is some extra turret shots. This is the perfect time to rotate your bottom lane to top. And look at this. They also have Chaser coming over, and Lorlo's going to engage.
Here we go. Someday that champ is very powerful. I don't know if it's going to be 1v3 powerful. Chaser exhausted.
Lorlo,
Someday going to be brought low. One more attack should do it. Golden Glue sweeps in. Chaser's grabbing the kill onto Lorlo, so it's top laner for top laner. The Dignitas cavalry has arrived. Package is ready to go. Death sentence lands onto Lorlo. More shots going to be fired off. Piglet continuing to find auto attack after auto attack into this turret.
But now Dignitas find themselves in the situation that the bottom lane that they had was in a moment ago, where they're underneath turret. It's inevitability that it just starts getting destroyed. And that's a TP from Lorlo to prevent the bottom from going down here, as Laud shoved it out. And that's why Dignitas didn't continue the fight up top. Numbers advantage for TL.
Lorlo going to go down there, catch that wave, soak it all up nice and easy for himself. At least did get themselves on the board. Here's a little bit of a replay of how all that went down with the dive.
Yeah, this is kind of a circus of turret aggro right here. It goes over to Lorlo, he W's, now it's on Matt. Matt has to run forward. Lorlo ducks back in, gets aggro, actually dies to the turret here because he's taking so many shots and it's ramped up. So Golden Glue comes in for the kill there. And then they just siege it back up, and it's a 1-for-1 underneath the turret. And the turret's not dead yet, but this is going to need some focus.
Yeah, they got some good damage into it. Piglet's going to continue just pouring auto attacks into this top lane tier 1 exactly the same way as he did in bottom lane. A few every single wave is going to be adding up rather rapidly, since Laud and Stunt are still far behind enough that they don't want to step up and kind of flex muscles against Piglet and Matt and say, hey, you can't be here.
Yeah, and it's a different situation for TL than it was on the bottom side because they have 3 control wards. It's very obvious where TL is putting their pressure and where they are all just preparing for this top lane to actually just be the one that's shoved out here. So they have TP on Golden Glue. They aren't worrying too much about TP from Someday because they have something to match it with. But I think that TL, they're definitely just going to start knocking down these turrets with this bottom lane. Go top. Chaser is finally here, so Chaser's now in the right spot. But it's so hard to actually get a good gank route in because it's so covered.
Golden Glue dashing around here in the mid lane, utilizing that LeBlanc distortion wave clear ability to try to just keep this lane pretty much equalized against the pushing power of the Corki on Keen. Getting that Hex Drinker earlier, like we mentioned, will delay the Trinity Force power spike this champion is known for, that really sets him off to a great mid-game. As Piglet going to have the curtain call opened up on him, takes the 90 caliber net right on out. Stunt's going to be stopped. Strangle Thorns prevents him from closing in any faster, and it's a good thing considering he was going to be bringing Chaser with him.
Yep, they also have that top scuttle too, so Someday he was looking for a way in, but didn't want to reveal himself. Now he's going to back. He's going to have to push out that bottom wave. And Lorlo, knowing that Someday's now on that top side most likely, will push this out, get a little bit more experience, and hits level 9, and is actually up on Someday now. So the advantages for Dig and pretty much evaporated in that top lane, and it's just mid now.
Yep, Lorlo's pretty happy with where he's at right now. You're playing the Maokai into Camille. You mentioned it's a good matchup for Camille, but Lorlo's sitting on an almost 20 CS advantage in that matchup, so you can't be sad about the way that's going.
Yeah, not at all. And look at this, Golden Glue in base, but actually uses a LeBlanc clone here.
Watching players utilize these clones properly is honestly a lot of fun to see because there's so many clever ways that you can use them to try to trick people or juke people out.
If he stops it back, that buys such valuable time.
Yeah. He doesn't get anything in particular out of that one. However, Liquid is going to pick up turret number 2 for themselves, take that advantage up to a 2-0. Almost a 3,000 gold lead now, 12 minutes in. Next Drake going to be spawning in about a minute. considering the control they've had over the map so far, I don't expect to see Liquid yielding that one anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's a Mountain Drake was the first one they picked up. The Cloud Drake will be the one coming up. If TL can find turrets for the Cloud Drake, they'll give it up. But I think turrets right now are the highest priority for TL, especially since they can knock them down early in the game.
Dignitas trying to control the area a little bit, setting up early, placing the wards down, even deeper into enemy territory like you saw Stunt doing just a couple of moments ago. They're trying to set up for this the best they possibly can, recognizing that sometimes, even if you're behind, having the appropriate vision means you win the fight anyway, and that could be what catapults them back into a decently successful mid-game. Chaser also just now completing that Warrior enchantment on his Skirmisher Saber, means if he can get up close and personal with anybody, he is going to do a ton of damage. Scuttle Crab also now picked up by Dignitas with 15 seconds left before the Drake spawns. That means that nice little speed bonus and vision is going to be available once the Dragon is up for contention between these two sides. Stunt hanging around in mid lane just to make sure TL doesn't try to do anything tricky to Keen before the Drake would spawn.
Yeah, but now, look at that gigantic bottom wave. It just got shoved in by Piglet and Matt. You would be like, okay, why aren't they mid? Well, they actually want to get Drake pressure here, so they get bottom priority, and now Golden Glue will get mid. And they're going to control this side, control this area, pick up the Drake. It will be their attempt. And now Golden Glue trying to establish dominance.
Golden Glue grabbing some decent damage onto Keen there. That Thunderlord's proc takes a big old bite out of him, as Liquid has removed all of the hard work that Dignitas spent setting up that vision control over the Drake pit. They still have the Scuttle Crab. That can't exactly be removed by any sort of a sweeper or anything else. But the entirety of Team Liquid is hanging around. There's one ward still left standing. Liquid is not going to remove that one, so Dignitas have eyes on this.
Yep, gonna be a little late. TP, but they don't have Corki yet.
Liquid gets themselves the Drake. They throw down the Stranglethorns to disengage this one. Someday's gonna be stunned up as he tries to hook shot in, and Dignitas can't punish at all.
Yeah, so when you hook shot and you're in a trap, in something like a stun, you'll go to the wall, but then you can't input commands to actually launch yourself from the wall. So you can get away from like a Maokai route, but you'll still have the route on you when you hit the wall. And if the actual, you have about a second to launch off of it, if that time expires, then you actually can't go anywhere.
Dignitas shut down there, have to yield another objective. Third Drake this game is gonna be Ocean, so that means no Infernals will be spawning this time around. You only get 3 different types of Drakes per game, so none of that big heavy damage that the Drakes can sometimes end up blessing us with. None of those crazy suicidal team fights to take over them. The Infernals are the only ones that we ever really get those for. So I'm always kind of disappointed when we get a game without a single Infernal Drake in it, but that's going to be the story this time around, as Dignitas are just kind of looking for a way to keep themselves from falling any further behind right now, considering nothing they've done so far has proved especially successful. Going 1-for-1 in the top lane was kind of their highlight.
Yeah, they've actually stopped the bleeding a bit because this mid turret doesn't seem to be going down anytime soon. The Drake is kind of what gets picked up for TL, but it's still been that 3,000 gold difference since the very beginning. So Dignitas is doing a good job of stabilizing, and now it's about scaling. Do they outscale? Do they get to a point where Camille can destroy the back line and actually deal some damage?
Right, we've got a lot of item spikes starting to come online too. You got the Morellonomicon on the LeBlanc. You've got the Infinity Edge on the Caitlyn. Sunfire Cape almost done on the Maokai, but not quite yet. Trinity Force also being closed in on by both Someday and Keen, and we know how much of a spike, I already mentioned it once, that item gives you as a single completed item, especially if it synergizes well with your champion. So both those two are going to be very scary, and Liquid's going to need to respect that once those items come online.
Yeah, the item power spikes, you definitely across the board look at them and say, okay, you know, Dignitas will have earlier ones with Trinity Forces and also having lethality, but like Piglet right now, him and Matt are kind of the gold lead right now. If we swap over to the gold, you can see Piglet's about 2,000 gold up already, and then Matt is almost 1,000 himself. And that's the difference between these two teams right now as we look at about a 3.5k gold difference. So the bottom lane is the ones that are doing work right now, and it's that matchup, and it's the fact that they were pushing in and Chaser didn't go bot. So retouching on that just really quickly here.
And I gotta give respect to Lod. He's actually reduced the CS gap as time has gone on, been doing a great job of keeping himself relevant. We already mentioned the lethality items means that even behind, he's still going to pack some punch. Those curtain call shots are still going to amount to a lot of damage if he can get them onto the right targets. And honestly, everybody on the side of Team Liquid is a good target except for Lorlo.
Here comes Someday.
Going to be jumped on. Someday coming right back into the fight. He locks Rainover down, and there is nowhere to run. Someday gonna be grabbing that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought Someday would actually be there because he didn't have teleport, so TL may have thought that's a good time to make a play. But Someday shows up, jumps in, uses the Hextech ultimatum, and now they're just sieging.
Still pushing up. Even though they're down a man, they're still trying to force these minions into the turret, give Piglet some auto attack time, but it's not going to be too successful just yet. And grabbing that kill, that is great for Someday, puts him on the board, gets him a little bit more money. Trinity Force now completed, and Hextech Ultimatum is just such an incredible lockdown tool. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You're done.
Yeah, somebody else, or you have to knock them out, and there isn't actually any knockback on TL to remove Someday from it. So they're going to be stuck in there when he uses that ultimate. But I was also looking at his Someday's skill order here, because he's going Q into W, and the W will give him sustain. The W gives him a little bit less cooldown and a little bit more percent HP damage, but usually the E is what gets maxed because it's such a great gap closer like we see there. And then the Hextech Ultimatum just to make sure that Reignover can't flash away, can't do anything clever to get away as well.
Do you get more range on the E as you level it, or
No.
is it just the stun?
It's ridiculous from level 1, Captain.
I know that it's ridiculous from level 1, but I was just assuming maybe it gets a little bit more ridiculous.
No, I believe the rank up incentive for it is the cooldown goes down drastically,
okay,
and then the attack speed that you get when you land on an enemy champion goes up from 40% to something like 90 or 70.
Today I learned that has an attack speed steroid.
Yep, you have to hit the enemy. That was one of the changes, is it used to be a free one. Now you have to hit an enemy champion, make contact with them to actually get the attack speed steroid off of your hook shot.
Progress. All right, Piglet continuing to make progress of his own here in the mid lane, working towards more of those power spikes with those multiplicative style critical hit items. Once you get Caitlyn up and running with about 3 of them is the magic spot, the Infinity Edge, the Hurricane, the Rapid Fire Cannon. That's when she is going to be a legitimate team fight threat, and you really got to start worrying about her.
Yeah. One of the reasons that people started going lethality builds, because it's very strong, it's very broken, but even before the lethality buffs, we started seeing Jin's move towards the armor penetration builds because Jin has an automatic crit in his kit, so he already has 1 statistic for 80 carries covered, whereas most 80 carries need about 4. You need attack damage, attack speed, critical strike chance, and armor penetration. When you build lethality, you have your armor penetration. Those items already have attack damage on them. And then you don't really need crit.
Jhin doesn't get attack speed anyway.
Exactly, and attack speed doesn't matter. And that's why people like Varus, same story, free attack speed steroid on his kit, armor penetration, has damage, continues to poke, doesn't need crit, doesn't need attack speed. And that's the interesting thing, because when you look at a tank like a Maokai, Lorlo's already online. He's purchased 2 real statistics, armor and HP, and now he's effective against 80 carries. And most 80 carries need 4. And that's why people have just been like, oh, 80 carries feel bad until 4 items. Because they need so many different things to be good in the game. And a tank needs 2. But hold on.
Stunt getting himself caught out. Stranglethorn's down. That's going to be 1 pick so far. Lod under pressure. Almost going to be taken down by Reignover, but he gets baited underneath the turret. Someday grabbing the kill there, 2 for 1 at the moment. Matt getting himself away. Matt almost going to be shut down. Deathfire touch grabs him, a flower on the grave, and Dignitas makes it even.
Yeah, one big thing about the Deathfire touch, and this was a change a long time ago to Jhin, is it actually lasts longer based on if it's an AoE, damage over time, or single target spell. Jin's abilities count as single target spells, so they
can only shoot 1 dude.
They burn for 4 seconds off of Deathfire touch. It's a very long time, so you get full value.
Stunt just in a world of pain here.
Yep, stunt, walked forward, face checked, and then Reignover jumped in onto Lod. The package comes through. Reignover has to flash forward to get to Lod after the flash, and then that's actually a 2 for 1 that ends up in favor, because this shot here, Piglet got out of the way, and that 1 shot, wasn't even the 4th bullet, takes Matt from about a 3rd HP to dead.
Because as that shot hit, so did a Corky rocket. And that was too brutal. Dignitas happy to make that one even. Gold lead has actually shrunk down a little bit over 2,000 now, as Drake number 3 is up and running, and Dignitas is saying, you know what? We're just about tired of giving away these neutral objectives. They'll grab this one for themselves, get a little bit of extra regeneration, a little bit of extra sustain, and the next one is going to be Mountain Drake number 2. So if Liquid can grab that, they could have some serious Baron taking power.
Yep, that's what they're looking for there, is that turret sieging power and being able to get the Baron quickly. Dignitas, on the other hand, though, if they get a Baron, it becomes pretty ridiculous. And I'm looking at Someday's build. That might be a Frozen Mallet.
He's going to make sure that if he gets on top of you, there is no way you are getting away from this guy. A stun again! Going to be caught out and punished. Piglet grabbing the kill there.
Yeah.
Now going to be putting these auto attacks into that turret. Blink, blink,
Something
blink.
on Piggy.
Piglet having to run away. Matt going to be forced to flash as well. Hex Tech Ultimatum feels his fate. Piglet's going to be sniped down too. 2 for 2 for Dignitas. Shutdown over onto Someday goes to Rainover.
Yep, 2 for 2 here overall trade. But now, who does each team have up? Chaser, it's up to him to wave clear, and for Keen, throw some rockets to make sure they can't get to this turret.
Rockets and missiles and all kinds of bullets going to be flying at these things to keep this turret safe. Liquid has set up the Eternal Siege outside this thing, but it still stands with half HP. They've not been able to break the defense yet. Someday, getting very scary on this Camille. Every time he issues that Hex Tech Ultimatum, somebody else is dead.
That's kind of how Camille works. It's just you jump in, somebody's dead. He could have jumped on Piglet there, he could have jumped on Matt, and honestly, they're going to kill both of them there. So Laud gets the shots as well onto Matt to pick him up. And we'll see it one more time here, because Piglet's walking forward. He wants a siege, kills his former lane mate here, gets a little bit of revenge, crits back to back. Like you were saying, he's already got the completed Runan's Hurricane and the Infinity Edge about 20 minutes into the game. And then Someday comes in from the side, has exhaust on, but it doesn't matter. True damage will go through that, picks him up, and then Laud with the shot on the side too.
That final sweep just set Laud up so well to make sure that that bullet got that kill too. Just awesome team play from Dignitas there.
Yeah, TL's composition is a lot of siege, poke down, also go for these little picks.
Keen in some trouble though. Those chains gonna be connecting. There comes your headshot. Kaboom!
Yep.
Matt grabbing the kill of all people.
And they'll be able to pick up picks here, and I think that TL are going more towards a 1-3-1 style eventually with the double teleport. Having the TP on LeBlanc, they'll try to split the map later on and put him in a side wave when he has it up, and Lorlo in the opposite one, because they have a great sieging core with Rainover who can ulti to see if anybody's flanking, see who's nearby, and Piglet with the trap set up on turrets. So TL will look to siege, split push, but Dignitas, this is really a split push composition. The way that Someday is building, the frozen mallet that'll come out here, that's for when he's up against Lorlo, the tree can't run away.
Right, and considering he's got Precision Protocol and a Trinity Force, I don't care how much armor you're building, it's still going to cleave through you.
Yes, one of the things about Precision Protocol and the true damage is that it actually converts Trinity Force Spellblade proc into true damage. So it's not, oh, you did 600 plus the Trinity Force damage, it actually is just a 800 damage true damage hit.
There's a reason every single person that plays this champion, which, and by that I mean probably the 4 or 5 people that have got to play it after ban phase since its release, have all built Trinity Force.
Yeah, Trinity Force is definitely a core item on her. CDR, fantastic. Spellblade turns it into true damage as well. And like I was saying, that's when you hit level 18, it's full because it scales up to 100% true damage. But even moving up to that point, it's really good. But I'm looking at Someday again. Skill order. Ditched putting points into W. It's just 3 for sustain. And now he's maxing E second, which I think is definitely right. You should have that E max second because it was starting at a 15-second cooldown. And now he has it down to an 8-second cooldown, and it's not max rank yet. So it gets down to about 7.
You can see by the golden rockets on the underside of the ship there that Keen has the package up and ready for delivery. But he's going to go ahead and
TP
take
from
that
behind.
backwards as the TP comes in. Lorlo looking to make the plays in the middle. Going to be jumping onto Stunt as the curtain call opens up. Liquid looking to find the damage here, but Golden Blue is exhausted.
Stunt.
Bullets unable to find him. Stunt's going to be brought down first. Lorlo twisted, advancing backwards onto Someday. Piglet still looking for a little bit more damage here. Someday just kind of jumps in and right back out. Trolling around with them a little bit there as Liquid finds their 1 for 0. Not going to be punished and answered this time as they continue to maintain control over enemy territory with that one.
And the way that TL want to approach these fights, like I said, they want to go for those picks, and they want to have split push actually collapse with TPs. But the way Dig actually want to approach the fights is they want to have Laud set up, and he's the cover fire for Someday jumping in. And it seemed a little bit out of sync there. The shots weren't really landing, and Lorlo was just disrupting the backline of Dignitas. So Dig don't really have that frontline tank. Someday's kind of supplementing that or actually replacing that. And Lorlo is that frontline, and he can dive in with Golden Glue. So Lorlo just gets in the thick of things. Someday comes through, but then there's enough damage here for Golden Glue. And look at that. That ultimate, not really a good one there from Laud. Doesn't really hit anybody there. doesn't have the full range and also has pressure on him. So now TL are able to section this off. They make it about a 3 versus 2, which eventually turns into a 3 versus 4, and then they back up.
That was just not the kind of fight that Dignitas wanted. Hextech Ultimatum and collateral damage never got used at all during it. They just didn't have the opportunity to. They were on the retreat. Chaser was almost dead. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at that 3-item power spike on Caitlyn. Those items up and running means Piglet is exactly where he wants to be 27 minutes into this game. This is the carry potential. This is the hyper carry. This is the protect the VIP type of play that Piglet wants.
Now, this is where he's sitting at 80% crit, has about 2,500 gold up over his lane opponent. Piglet is feeling good, getting those outer turrets, but they haven't been able to get those inner ones yet. They have to set up the siege, but they always have to be wary of some days teleport plays or his flanking. That's why we're not seeing it so much just yet, but I believe TL will start to play around Golden Glue and Lorlo's TP on side waves.
Before completing that Frozen Mallet, someday also deciding to pick up a Hex Breaker.
Yeah, it's a little all over the place. I was expecting Titanic second, but hold on.
Matt destroyed! Not even a chance.
Piglet.
Someday issues the Hextech Ultimatum yet again.
Trying to get
Piglet gonna be stuck up in there, but he keeps himself alive. Grabbing the kill onto the Dignitas top laner as Golden Glue tries to fit those juke boots on, but he just can't quite find any sort of damage while keeping himself alive. Gets away today. Still gonna be a 2-for-1 going the way of Liquid, as Piglet is just so strong. Someday thought he could jump in there, but he doesn't have the tankiness. All his resistance is MR. He's got Mercury Treads, he's got a Hex Drinker, but there's no armor on him. And considering the one stat Piglet's build is missing is armor penetration, he's happy to shoot him down.
Exactly. He doesn't have to build it just yet. Nobody's really going to build the armor penetration. So I was talking about the 4 statistics. This is a game where you only really need 3 of them. So Piglet's kind of in Wonderland right now. He can go after a Bloodthirster. He can build whatever he wants next. Matt caught out, saw it a little bit, but Laud here actually has the Edge of Night on. He's sitting up top, actually goes back and forth at the top of the screen, and he actually sits on that 4th shot. No cover fire, has the ultimate, doesn't use it there, and that's the only real damage he gets in the fight onto Golden Glue. Where Dignitas, their composition, you need Laud to open up and provide the pressure of having the ultimate on, and that was one where it just looked like they were out of sync.
Moral reminder, now also picked up for Laud, so when he continues to pour that damage into these fights, he'll be able to stop some of the healing coming out from the Maokai, from the Rengar roars, and also from that ridiculous lifesteal that Piglet is getting from the Warlord's Bloodlust.
Yeah, and the Vamp Scepter now. Maybe Mercurial Scimitar next.
Which, by the way, I'm just now noticing, we've got these awesome keystone things on the side of the screen 24/7 now. I love these. You can always make sure that you're seeing exactly what everybody's rocking the whole way through.
Yep, moved him up a little bit, and they look good to go. So, yeah. I like him a lot as well. The Fervor standard onto Camille. I think I've only seen 1 Thunderlords yesterday.
Production values, man. We got them here at the NALCS as Team Liquid, now with a 5,500 gold lead. Still not building this up super quickly over the course of the game, considering they had a 2,500 gold lead at 6 minutes. It's taken them a while to double that, but they're still sitting pretty comfortably. They've still got this 80 carry to rely on that's now got himself a QSS. I don't believe that does anything against Hextech Ultimatum.
No.
I think I've played 1 game against Camille ever where she wasn't banned since release, so I don't know a lot of her specific interactions. But I'm pretty sure it's not a targeted champion-specific CC, so the QSS isn't going to do anything against that.
I don't know if it counts as a crowd control, but I do know that if the person has an Edge of Night on or a Banshee's Veil and you Hextech Ultimatum them, the ability actually disappears. You jump on them, and then nothing happens.
So you still close the gap, but the big hexagon thing isn't there.
Yes.
Fair enough. Curtain call opened up.
Yeah, there's the cover fire, but someday isn't there, so it's actually a useless curtain call.
Yeah, the 1 shot into Golden Glue, that's what they got. About 6% of Golden Glue's health bar. Not the most value curtain call in the world, and now with that down, Liquid's feeling a little bit more comfortable about pushing up into enemy territory, knowing that Jhin can't be sitting 2 miles away, putting damage into their lines. Next Drake is going to be Mountain. Not going to be spawning for a couple of minutes, though. Baron up and available. Dignitas with so much vision control over that top part of the map, setting those wards down. Or Liquid with so much control over that part of the map, excuse me, setting the wards down into Dignitas jungle. Got my words a little bit crisscrossed. If there's even a small opportunity for Liquid to jump on this Baron, you best believe they're in a spot where they could be able to jump on that.
Yeah, and right now, it's just been a kind of a slowed down game here, which gives Dignitas more and more time to just get items, get to points that they're happy with. Granted, Piglet does outscale, but someday, I mean, this guy is still 1 item and 3 halves.
It's a garage sale.
Because if you look at Lorlo actually has the same amount of gold as Someday, but he's sitting on 2 items, boots, and then he also has 2 parts of another one. So he's about 3 items, where Someday has about the value of 3 items in his inventory, but he doesn't have those special legendary upgraded items, spikes and abilities added on top of those things. That's kind of the extra combined cost of items, is getting you those extra juicy parts.
And once Lorlo completes this next item with the Frozen Heart, he's going to have that juicy attack speed reduction, as Someday might be in a little bit of trouble here. Luckily, Hookshot's got a hell of a range on it, but Rainover's got his own leaps to chase after. Someday forced to pop the flash to get himself away. And the Hookshot's already back up again. You were not kidding about that cooldown reduction.
No, it's ridiculous. That's why you max his second. If you keep it at rank 1, it's about a 15-second cooldown, and it just does not feel bueno at all. And so when you start putting points into it, muy bueno. It's really good. It's very bueno. But I actually think that you saw there in that last interaction, Rainover jumped in with Edge of Night. Hextech Ultimatum actually got used by Someday. No Hexagon. Nothing got thrown down on the ground because of the fact that it was a spell shield. So that does prevent it from going down, like I said.
Interesting interaction. By the way, another piece into Someday's arsenal.
That's not a frozen mallet. It was a Tiamat all along into a Titanic Hydra, which should be your second item on Camille. You should be going Trinity
Some
Force
kind of push
into your Titanic Hydra. I thought he would have the Tiamat earlier because that's how you split push. Also, Titanic Hydra is just so much damage, and you can auto-attack reset 3 times on Camille with it, once with Precision Protocol, first Q, second Q, and your Titanic.
But I believe the pattern, it's first Q, Titanic, then second Q, so you have the timer, right?
It's auto Q, auto Titanic, auto Titanic Q.
Auto Q, auto Titanic, yeah, that's the one. So to make sure, because you have to space the Qs out for the 1.5 second delay, so you get the true damage. The busted hit from that Trinity Force conversion.
The busted hit. All right, I gotcha. But yes, it's about 5 auto attacks with 3 of them being resets.
Dignitas still doing a good job holding on, though. That gold lead, like you talked about, these guys are kind of used to staunching the bleeding now, holding on as long as they can. And like we've kind of seen in the past, generally if a game can get to the point where you're up around 75, 80,000 gold, which wouldn't be surprised if this game trends towards that point, the way the teams are kind of taking it slow a little bit here. Rainover trying to make a play onto Keen, not going to be finding it just yet. Dignitas backing themselves away. Piglet continuing to advance. Mercurial Scimitar now completed onto Piglet. That's going to be 1 more item on him, and he'll be full build on this Caitlyn.
Full build, 35 minutes approaching that. Has 5 items right now. Also, this next Drake, that would be the 3rd Mountain Drake for TL. Shows 1 at the top, but they did get 2. And so that would be exactly what they need, because these inner turrets have not been going down at all.
Wait, this is a Cloud Drake. That's a leftover grab.
It's all wrong.
That's okay. It's all sorts of all over the place.
So yeah,
Drake.
They do have 2 Mountain Drakes. They have 1 Cloud. This will be their 2nd Cloud.
Dignitas might be setting up a trade here. They're saying, okay, Liquid wants to go for the Cloud Drake. We don't care. We might be able to do something around Baron, or at least just take control over the area in terms of vision. Liquid grabbing themselves this. The point that I was trying to make earlier about the gold differences, by the way, if Dig can stall this out to about the 75, 80,000 mark, the gold differences don't really mean anything anymore. And at this point, the stall game might be what they're looking for.
You would expect that to be the case. Elder Dragon also going to be the next one here since the past 35 minutes. But TL have control of this area. This actually was not heavily warded by Dignitas. I believe Stunt has no wards in his Sightstone at the moment, so he's actually running on dry. They're holding on to their blue trinkets as well and not firing those off. Stunt does need to back.
Mortal Reminders up and running on 2 out of 3 of the quote-unquote 80 carries on the side of Dignitas. Now Chaser picked up one of his own, wants to make sure that no matter who's doing the attacking, whether it's him or the Jhin, that healing debuff is going down, because it is going to do so much against 3 members of Team Liquid. It could be the difference between somebody surviving and being able to lifesteal tank, or battle roar tank, or Maokai tank. It's a potential massive impact based around this 1 item.
Yep.
Package ready for delivery yet again with Keen.
Oh, TP way in the back from Lorlo. They've set this up with a deeper ward, and they're trying to go for a flank here. They have to engage now, or Dig will all turn on him.
Right there. Package is delivered. Lorlo right into the middle of 5. Courage of the Colossus going to be blocking up a lot of damage, but Lorlo's still in a bad spot. Keen's grabbing kill number 1. Someday looking to make moves happen. Rainover grabbing the killing spree onto Stunt. Someday is down. Rainover having to retreat. Piglet still has free firing time. Not quite going to be finding the damage, but Golden Blues got it. trades his own life away for that one. It's a 2 for 3. Dignitas have the fight, and look at Piglet's health bar just climbing right back up to full. The push is on.
Yep, full HP for Piglet. Now he just gets to siege this inner turret. Will be the first one that TL might be able to take down this game. You can see Mountain Drakes doing work, those two that they have. And Chaser off on the side.
Waiting around in case Matt might try to walk up there. He could get the cheeky one-shot.
Or Piglet.
Auto attack, auto attack would pretty much just delete them.
And it doesn't have the R up just yet, so can't do the slide combo into it. Would have to be the autos, like you said. And I was looking for Matt.
Forces the flash away, almost gets him. Matt was not in the shop, though. He was ready for that one.
Rainover's looking for him, though. Here he comes, Speedy Cat.
Edge of Night is there, and Rainover pops him before there's even a chance. Lot is hanging out, but what are you going to do to save him from that?
Hey, and Rainover, last time we saw him playing Rengar, it was always tank build. It was always heal yourself for more. Even in All-Stars, the fun game modes when Rengar was first reworked, he was still playing him tank. Now he has a bunch of lethality. You can see that's how broken it is that even Rainover's purchasing it. He cannot deny how good it is. Hold on, Golden Glue.
Baron gonna be swept up by Team Liquid as Someday is trapped in his own ultimatum. Golden Glue gonna be jumping back as Rainover hops in and stabs him straight to death. 3 men standing on the side of Dignitas for the next 20 seconds or so as Liquid has all 5 up and running. And here's a little bit of a replay of how it all went down.
Yep. Everybody jumps in onto Lorlo, but Rainover actually takes the long way around. Bob has pressure on him, so he has to flash, find a space for cover fire here, then gets the ultimate down, and now Stunt gets jumped on. Rainover's now in the back line, and then Someday already had just everybody on him. It was kind of the trade where Dignitas get to all group up 5 people on Lorlo, and then it was everybody gets to collapse from Dignitas onto, or TL onto Someday. So it was just a trade of top laners, but then the rest of the fight, superior stats for TL, and the fact that Piglet is just scaled up so hard, 6 items now, 38 minutes.
2 of those are lifesteal items as well. That explains a lot of the regeneration he's having in these fights, along with a Warlord's Bloodlust. He needs to be pretty much insta-gibbed, or he's not going down.
Yeah, he's 32% lifesteal right now, and that's when he's at full HP and Warlords is not kicking in yet. So he's gone for the durability here, making sure that he can't die to a Camille. It's not like the Sterix gauge we were seeing from Lod yesterday against Rengars and stuff, and Jarvans, but it is the high damage auto attack favored build here from Piglet. Hoping Matt has to disengage with the Zyra.
And the tankiest people on the side of Dignitas, you've got a Camille and you've got a Thresh, but it's health that they have. There's not really a lot of armor there. He doesn't have to worry about building that penetration. Golden Glue backing himself away. Rainover going to be popping that ultimate just to scare them off of the chase. Piglet's auto attacks are going to make short work of this mid lane inhibitor turret. Rainover pops the Ghost Blade, still not finding the opportunity to jump in, but still doesn't even need it as the red inhibitor falls there in the mid lane, and Dignitas now has to defend a base that has been injured as Liquid looks for even more.
Yep, Rainover, the zoning ultimate from Rengar, it's actually quite effective. People will back away because if they're marked, you know that he's right next to you, and you also know that that's where you get the automatic crit if he can see you with the ulti.
Lorlo just frontlining for the rest of Team Liquid, saying, hey, you guys don't have a real tank, but we do. Soaking up any amount of damage they might be looking to do to Liquid as they continue this push. Everybody's going to be backing up now, regrouping on the bottom part of the map, make it a 3-inhib game, and lock this one away. Elder also up in about 45 seconds, and the inhibitors on the opposite end of the map are down, which means there's a lot of control over this for Liquid.
Yep, Liquid had absolute control of this game, and it's pretty much been like that since minute 5, where they were able to take that bottom tier 1 turret. And this goes back to what Scar was saying on the desk about Dignitas, where if FlyQuest yesterday weren't so proactive, throwing themselves at Dignitas over and over again, Dig may have not been able to win that game. Whereas TL, they got a small advantage bottom, snowballed it, went top, used their composition, used their superior poke, and now they find themselves in a large lead.
Rainover jumped on, though. Got to be careful about this one. Lorlo soaking all that damage. Golden Glue looking for some first onto Chaser. Rainover comes back around from the side. Golden Glue goes down, though. Stunt looking to run away, but Rainover's going to be there to cut him off as well. Double kill for Piglet. Make it a triple. The man is going to town. 2 dead on the side of Liquid. 4 dead on the side of Dignitas. Look at the amount of HP Keen is losing. Tilt over Peacemaker. A quadra kill for Piglet. And Team Liquid is going to be finding the Nexus off the back of that one.
Piglet on the Caitlyn. This has just been the Piglet show start to finish. Level 1 all the way to level 18. This guy non-stop 7-1 and 10. Looking to take the Nexus. Looking to take this one for TL.
From the turret at 5 minutes to the Nexus at 41, Team Liquid feeling good and looking good, going up 1-0 in the series.
Started in the bottom, now we here.
Now we're almost here. We still got one more to win.
Yep, but the bot lane is what started it all off. They get it all the way to the Nexus there. That was about a 5,000 gold lead for Piglet by himself. Big, big plays from the bottom side. Opened it up there, and that makes the series interesting because what is Dignitas going to do about that? Their bottom lane is the one that seems to be sectioned off from the rest of the team. The other three being Korean speakers, communicate a lot in Korean, whereas the bottom lane, they kind of got left out to dry there. There was no help from Chaser when there were no wards in the bot side, and TL got to have their way in that matchup. They got to do exactly what they wanted to do, and as a jungler, I understand saying, hey, someday, world-class top laner, let's go to that lane.
Help him out.
Let's help him out. Let's get him snowballing. Didn't end up working out to do anything for the top lane, whereas the bottom lane just got destroyed.
And this was on a champion that, again, it's Piglet's style. It's not the meta.
Yeah.
Jhin Varus, nope. Put him in the note box. Pull out the Caitlyn, show him what you're made of, play your champion, and go 7-1-10 and just completely win the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Mark and I were having this conversation a few weeks ago about what you do with Piglet as a player, because he's really good at these types of carry champions. The Twitch, the Caitlyn have been actually his two standout performances this split, whereas his Jhin, his Ashe, his Varus don't actually look as dominant, and he hates playing champions that are low mechanics, sit in the back, provide utility. He's like, I want to win the game. He wants to take control of the game. And I think as a coach, you put him on those champions. You empower him to play his style. I don't give a damn if it's the meta or not, but I think that that's what you should push Piglet towards is being a star. Why try to actually keep the shine of your star down?
You got to follow your heart, Irene. You don't follow the meta. You follow what's in here. For their take on that Liquid win, let's send it over to the analysts.
And then we just learned that Captain
the
Power's heart is on the right side of his body.
Yeah.
But Team Liquid coming out with a victory here. And gentlemen, we were talking about, similar to what Zyrene was mentioning there, playing around Piglet and what is the Team Liquid identity. And in particular, when you look at this draft, I know you had some strong feelings, Scar, about this is actually a draft that you would have wanted to see much earlier out of Team Liquid.
Stylistically, you look at Team Liquid, you're like, okay, Piglet's the star carry. You got Lorlo on tanks. Golden Glue's playing like LeBlanc or something, and then like Reignover's playing probably Rek'Sai. But so Reignover's champion was the only thing that I didn't expect in like a perfect world before we saw any games from them at the very start of the season. This is something I expected, and like, okay, what happened? Piglet just smashed bot lane with Caitlyn. I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly what you expect from him,
I mean, that said, I still like part of the draft still bugs me. Like whenever I see a missed ban, it just tilts me. And we made fun of TSM last week a little bit for not banning Singe versus Looper in the second rotation when they were targeting top laners. I would rather see that than a no ban. Like you have to ban out another top here. Or something. I just
I don't care if you ban out Vel'Koz.
Yeah.
Who knows if the pocket Vel'Koz is coming out? There is literally no advantage to not banning.
Right. I mean, you have your top. You can ban tops, ban the Fiora, ban the Camille, ban anything. I don't care. Just don't. I don't know. It's a small nitpicky thing, but it's the kind of thing that just shows that what are they thinking?
Well,
here?
it's those minor mistakes that keep Team Liquid from becoming a good or a great or an excellent team. Right. Between all of these tiers are minor improvements, and if you can't get those, simpler things out of the way, then you'll never get to the point of improvement where you can become an exceptional team. Let's take a look at the lead and how they crafted this win, but that it didn't come easy. So track it through the game. You said, of course, bot lane smashed, but then they go top lane to take this lead to the top lane, and what happens?
It takes such a long time. They look for this dive, and it just goes kind of disastrous for them. Right. It's not too bad. Like, this is a story of the game for Liquid. Like, all their plays kind of work. They come out like 1 kill ahead in all of them, but it's just, it does not look good.
Right, I mean, like, you have Golden Glue flying in at the end to finally get the kill after Maokai goes down. Like, if Golden Glue's not there, that's literally a 1-for-0 for Dignitas. So, like, the whole thing doesn't look clean. And on the other stream, we saw CLG, very similar game where, like, their bot lane blew the game open at, like, 6 minutes in, and they were able to get a 6K gold lead at 20 minutes. TL was still sitting at 3K when they were at 2K 15 minutes ago. And then all their plays were kind of like that, where they were just a struggle.
For me, it says a lot about the team. It's how fast you can take the mid lane turret if you're rotating with the lead. Look at CLG's game. They poke people down, eventually got it in like, 10, 15 minutes. You look at TL's game, it's like it's such a struggle. Piglet's at full health, he's sieging, you're like, they have this for sure now. And then what happens is someone dies or Piglet gets poked, somebody gets on Piglet, and it's just they're not able to convert their lead into blowing up the mid game with a lead and creating a bigger lead from it.
And this is the thing. I understand we're being very critical of the team that just won, but that's because if they could win in such cleaner fashion. And again, if we're looking at, well, this team is sitting however far down in the standings around, they want to be a playoff team, right? They want to be a top 3 finisher. How do you become a top 3 finisher? You've got to be able to close out games more cleanly than this. We jumped to 36 minutes into the game. We're going to see a very similar fight. 3 for 2 in favor of Team Liquid, but it's not clean. This is not how you want to win fights.
I mean, you see the TP flank coming in from Lorlo here. You hear the ultimate come out of Rengar, and then where's the follow-up? Like, Lorlo's just sitting in the middle of 5 people. Golden Glue has a hard time getting in. And then Piglet finally joins the fight, and this is how a lot of the fights looked, where once Piglet gets involved, yeah, they're able to win, but Reignover finally gets involved. Like, where was your Rengar that whole time? And the fight barely goes in their favor. I think it ends up being a 2 for 2 that they...
It's a 3 for 2, so they go up 1 kill, and then they're able to rotate mid and pick up that inner turret. But again, where it could have been maybe a 3 for 0 or a 2 for 0 with cleaner execution and then 1 or 2 turrets, right? The advantages are smaller, and that's why the game extends.
And another note is, like, every time I see Reignover's Rengar, I'm just not that impressed, you know? I think, okay, the first time you pull out, that's whatever, you know? Next time you pull out, okay, maybe, like, I expect improvement over the weeks. It's week 5, and his Rengar still looks, he's still making a lot of mistakes where he's diving, he kills himself, or he kills himself for something that's not worth it.
Right.
And I don't know, I just hope to see more out of his Rengar from now.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the final fight of the game. This is a Quadra going over to Piglet, but it starts once again in a situation where Dignitas is the aggressor. Actually looks like a pretty good pick and fight for them. Gold advantage for Team Liquid is really what you're going to notice here.
Right. It starts with Piglet and Matt trying to push out the bot lane while the rest of the team does vision control, and Dignitas jumps on them. Luckily, they have built enough of a gold lead already that the tanks don't die instantly. It gives time for Piglet to rotate over, join the fight, and then, you know, Piglet destroys people because he's a fed Caitlyn late in the game. But once again, it's just this thing where you see Team Liquid with so much potential in terms of you understand how their team, like you see that team on paper and you understand how it's supposed to work, and every week you just see it not working, and it's kind of disappointing in that sense.
On the same note, I'm at least happy that they're playing like how we expected them to play earlier. Maybe this is their shot at improving because, okay, they figure out where it works. You know, we saw a lot of holes in their ability to execute, but maybe that gets fixed starting from now because finally they're playing something that more fits their team style.
Well, as you mentioned, this is what you wanted to see out of them in week 1, right? So here we are in week 5, where we wanted to see them in week 1. So exactly that. It's like, all right, maybe by week 9, they get to where we would have wanted to see them in week 5. Who knows,
And
right?
I mean, to be fair, I actually don't think that's the worst, you know, outcome for Team Liquid, where assuming that we expected them to be at week 5 by week 9, that means probably in the playoffs, right? That like a middle tier playoff team. And it's just about winning your first best of 5, then winning your next best of 5, and you can make late season pushes. And so if they can keep improving, great, but it's just one game right now against Dignitas. They need to show that they can do more.
Right, this is the baseline here. Player of the game going to Piglet. Of course, we're not trying to disparage him or his efforts in this game by saying that it was all a product of the gold lead. They had to build that gold lead, and he was a fed Caitlyn.
Yeah, I mean, he crushed in lane phase. Like we said, a lot of those team fights were like, oh my god, Team Liquid's losing, and then Piglet shows up and like instantly wins them the fight. So obviously it was mostly off the back of him. He played great.
And what do we think about that, you know, the commentary from Zyrene and Captain Flowers around the meta and kind of ignoring the meta? I mean, it's not like Caitlyn is unviable. But do you feel like Team Liquid should be given permission at this point to completely ignore the Varus, the Jins, the Ashes, and say, hey, let's go towards the Ezreals, the Caitlyn's, you know, the Vaynes even, for the likes of Piglet so that he can hard carry and we can build around him?
I think as long as you can make a draft work around that, I don't think there's a problem, you know? It's a different thing if he's trying to make like a Jinx work or like a even lower tier pick, but like Caitlyn's like what you'd pick after those 3 are banned, and it's not even that bad. And Ezreal would be along the same lines. And so I think that as long as they draft intelligently around that, you can make almost any pick work.
Right, and I think a team to look at would be FlyQuest, where they're not totally ignoring the meta, but they're just abusing what other people want to do. I think that's the key, is not ignoring it, but finding how you can play around it.
All right, well, Team Liquid may be beginning to find their identity here in Game 1 against Team Dignitas. We're headed to a break, but when we come back, we've got Game 2 between Liquid and Team Dignitas. Stick around. We'll be right back.